I lived in London at the time, and they. Do you remember when the Strokes? I had no idea Julian was doing a solo record, but do you remember when the Strokes did that show as Venison?
Yeah, you got the T-shirt, didn't you?
I did, yeah, because I was at that show because I lived in London at the time. So someone had told me that they were playing. So me and the guy that does our artwork, Nick Scott, went down to go see him. Now, when I was there, um, like I was there with Kelly from Rough Trade Records, and she was telling me about how Julian was doing a solo record. So she sent me it in the mail, and and then we went to go see Julian at I think he was at the Forum or the Astoria when he came out to promote that record. I thought it was I really liked it. I really liked the album, and I really liked the live show that he was doing around then because it was really polished. I felt like the album was really polished compared to like what he was known for doing with the Strokes. Um, and the live show, like when we went to go see him, was almost more like it almost felt more like going to see a pop star or something rather than a band. You know what I mean? Did you see him on that tour?
Yeah, someone in Manchester that tour, yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, because he had almost like a band around him, didn't he?
Yeah,
And
I
stuff.
don't know. I just because I guess it for like these days because the Strokes went so like people would associate Julian and the Strokes with like an 80s influence now, wouldn't they? But before this record came out, you didn't have that association. You know what I mean? You only had the first three records, so this
Mm.
was almost like when he stepped into that kind of stepped into that mold. So I thought yeah, like I listened to when like I said, Rough Trade had sent me a copy of the record. I listened to it a lot. I listened to it a lot when it came out. I just thought I thought it was really good. I really liked the production. I thought it was a good idea. It seemed really stylish. Uh, seemed really stylish to me. But the other thing is like this was always my favorite song on that record. I always thought it was like I definitely thought it was the best track on that record. And the funny thing is I was when when we were putting out the exclamation point single through Julian's label, I went out. We were having sushi together near the cult offices, and um, like he just happened to mention to me, like when we were there, that Jen, my girlfriend, played the guitar solo on that record. Now I had no on that song. Now I
Oh
had
wow.
no idea about that. She'd like never mentioned it to me. So, like, I get when I got home, I was like, "Did you play? Was it like? Was he just like talking? Was he just like messing with me or something?" And it turned out that she had done it, but just never mentioned it to me. And I just thought that was cool. That like you can do something like that and just be that unbothered that you just don't even mention it. You know what I mean?
No, definitely, yeah.
But
One
that was my
like
favorite bit of the song as well, coincidentally.
okay. Because one of him was in his band as well, weren't they?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like I there was also that guy JP,
Oh, the Guru.
yeah, he
Oh,
was in it as
really?
well. I remember meeting him that night.
Oh, right. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was in it. I mean, I didn't make that connection yet. I mean, uh I'm not that versed in that, I'm not that like, in that like nerdy element of stuff, but like, it's like you put all these things together afterwards, don't you? But like, yeah, I
Yeah.
think he was in the band when I saw him. I don't know if it was the same when you saw him in Manchester, but
Maybe, yeah. Did you have a figure type like that around the early days that was like a bit of a wise person to lean on or whatever?
oh no, like the 2000s, every band had a guru,
Oh,
like
really?
yeah, it's a little known fact. It's like everyone's been trying to keep it secret and under, it's one of the it's one, it's the biggest open secret in the music industry. It's all those 2000s bands. They all had a guru, man. It doesn't matter what they're saying.
I know Kings Leon did because it's. But I don't know about
John, I
anyone
was
else.
actually joking, but it does. Yeah, they did, didn't they? They worked with the songwriter. No, we never had anything like that.
Okay.
Where are we going to find a guru in Wakefield? You know what I mean?
Yeah, fair point. Yeah, tap up Paul Heaton or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Paul Sykes.
What a legend. Um, but one thing about that album, right? It's like I don't know if it's a myth or whatever. Or Julian said it just once, but he said he's like he almost like regrets that album, like he feels like he pandered to the audience too much. Do you get that at all or
I,
not?
I mean, I think that's a shame that he feels like that. I know that, like, obviously the stuff that he did with the Voids is being a lot more, like, it's a lot less accessible, isn't it? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So, um, I don't think there's any question that when he was making that record, he was trying to write pop songs. You know what I mean? Because the Strokes hadn't gone pop at that point.
mm.
Like, so I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with making a pop record. I thought it was really well done. I thought he made a good pop record, but I wouldn't have considered it pandering to the fans because I don't think that's what Strokes fans wanted at that time. They wanted more Gordon Raphael produced, you know, like
Yeah,
stuff
true.
like that. That's what Stroke fans have always wanted, really, isn't it? So um, I wouldn't have considered that record to be pandering to the fans at all. To me, at the time, it seemed uh, like it seemed it wasn't what I was expecting. It seemed out of left field. You know what I mean?
No, it still sounds fresh now, so it stood the test of time massively, I think.
I think it's his best solo record, personally.
Yeah, yeah. There's like a really good video of him playing it on Letterman. I think he plays Out of the Blue on Letterman, so that's a good one to revisit for anyone listening if they want to see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and there's another kind of myth about this song particular that he wrote it for his wife. Apparently, it wasn't supposed to be on an album, but then
Right.
she said, "Look, it's so good, put it on the album." But
You know
I don't know.
that is interesting because like um like I'm I find that really fascinating that he has that same relationship that I was talking about earlier because it's like because he wrote it for his wife he didn't want it on an album, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think that's the story. Yeah,
That's exactly why I didn't want to put out the exclamation pony stuff. I didn't write it for that reason. It was songs I was writing for Jen, and I was like, to me, I was like that meant that it had already fulfilled what I wrote the songs for. I had no, you know, I I had no other intentions for it apart from that, and that's why I never really wanted to put it out. I didn't see there being any need to put it out. It's not what I wrote it for.
yeah, yeah.
It's
Okay, well,
interesting that he felt the same way about that song.
yeah, yeah. I think well, it's another one of these kind of. I don't know if it's a myth or I said it once that's been remembered. I think, but I think that
No,
might be the
but
case.
I can totally believe it. I can totally believe it because it's like, it,
I think the actual story is he used to write a song every year for her,
yeah,
and this was one of them. Like maybe every Christmas or something. Again, this might be
yeah.
conjecture by fans. I don't know, but
That's the thing. It's weird then, isn't it, when you give it to everyone else by releasing it? I mean, I've always had this thing where when we write a record and record a record, like I love the songs and I really like it, and then from the minute that we release it, I'd never want to listen to it again because it's almost like your relationship changes with it so massively once other people have heard it. You know what I mean? So I can see that whole I can understand that concept of wanting to keep some songs just for yourself, you know what I mean? Where as soon as other people hear it, your relationship with it changes. So the only way to stop your relationship with it changing is to make sure no one else ever hears it.
yeah, yeah. No, it's interesting, definitely.
Mm.
Well, let's play it then. Here's Julian Casablancas with Glass.